Hello, this is Richard Lowe with Leaders and Their Stories. I'm here with Mike O'Neill, who's with Integrated Alliances, and he's going to talk to us about how to do lead generation on LinkedIn. So take it away, Mike.
Well, LinkedIn's 21 years old, so it's had quite an evolution over time. We'll talk about where it is now, but I'll just spend 45 seconds talking about kind of how we got here. When LinkedIn came out, it was free. There was nothing but something free, and you had to be in San Francisco to understand what it was. And since then, it's snowballed and snowballed to the point where there's 1 billion users. And I'm part of the first 100,000. And almost everyone was from San Francisco back then. And there's different buckets and different places in LinkedIn where people play. Some people are the career people. Some people are the jobs people. Some people are all about posting, and some people about profiles. And I wrote a couple LinkedIn books about profiles and branding in 2010 and 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And being an engineer like I am, I'm an industrial engineer. I started out in computer networks when floppy disks. The question was, do you have one 5.25-inch floppy or two? Remember that, Richard?
And did
Which
you have
one?
enough? And did you have enough money for the 1 megabyte disk drive that you could get?
I had the 64K of memory.
Yeah, I remember those days.
So
I
that's the.
I also wrote a book on LinkedIn called Focus on LinkedIn, but it's way out of date because it was written before Microsoft bought it.
Me as well. And I'll tell you, my books are out of date, but they're timeless. They really are. I mean, the concepts are timeless, but the details really matter. And we'll talk about the current details of things. And we're done living in the past. So let's fast forward 21 years. I've been doing it that long. And now today, we've got not just LinkedIn, but we've got Sales Navigator as well. We've got the paid high-end version, Sales Navigator. We've got a paid version of LinkedIn, and we've got a free account. And I'll talk about all three here. I think it's best if we start with a free account and talk about how people can use it to find their right audience and to engage them. And then we'll do the upgrades from there.
Okay.
So there are a few limitations with a free account that really matter here. And the biggest limitation with the free account for users out here has to do with when you're inviting people to connect. You can't send more than 5 messages, and the rest of them are blank. So you've probably seen in your inbox these blank invites coming to you.
Right.
Well, many of those are from people who have a free account. And they can't send you a message because they sent 5 already this month.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. And I'd say probably at least half of them are that situation. People got a free account and they just click send. Okay. If you're going to do that with a free account, your headline on your profile matters a great deal, because in the connection inbox, they see part of your headline, and the headline is that text right by your name up at the top there. Okay. So the area of your profile that matters the most obviously is your headline.
It's the first thing people see.
Yeah, that and your picture. Those are the two things.
Yeah.
Right around here. I don't mean your body picture. I mean your mug.
The headshot.
Yeah. So if you're going to be inviting people with a free account, focus a lot of attention on that part of your profile. Okay, the area at the top and the picture. All right. So you can send up to 100 a month, which is really quite a bit, with a free account. So a free account works really great for a lot of people. It has an upgrade called Business Premium, and the upgrade lets you send as many of those kind of messages with text as you like. And you can see for 90 days back who's been viewing your profile. And for some people, it's the little gold badge that counts, that puts people over it.
Right.
And it's $60 a month. You buy a year, you get 2 months free, that kind of thing. And then there's another version of LinkedIn called Sales Navigator. And I work primarily with Sales Navigator. My clients work with lesser accounts, but I work with, we call it SNAV, SNAV in our world. Okay,
Right.
it's got a nickname. And SNAV has all kinds of capabilities, and it's really complex product. So let's start out with the free account and work on that. All right.
Okay.
When you're looking for people to target, you're generally looking at 4 or 5 criteria. Where are they located? Probably don't care about people in Hong Kong.
Right.
Maybe you don't care about people outside of your state. So let's say that's first, okay? And generally, you're talking about cities and states in general, cities and states.
Yeah, I target
That
Texas and Florida.
yeah,
Yeah.
the really good markets. Texas and Florida, California, those are 3 really big
Right.
markets. After that come Illinois and New York in terms of size of market, and then Georgia. I do a lot of targeting, so I know the big markets.
Georgia's my third one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the top 5, that we do. Now, if you're going to do some outreach and you want to be serious about it, don't start being serious. Do your outreach in Arkansas or Mississippi or Missouri so you can practice before you get to the big leagues.
Hmm.
In baseball, they've got preseason. Football, hockey, any sport, they've got preseason so they can tune things up. So if you're going, Texas is your market, well, I wouldn't even say Oklahoma. I like Arkansas and Mississippi because,
Right.
they don't seem to care. They don't seem to care. You can misspell something or say things in a way that you correct later, and those states didn't matter. Now, no, if you're from those states, I'm sorry I said that. Okay, but you understand the idea. Do it someplace out of your own audience, somewhere far away. I'm in Spain, so everything's far away from me. So we talked about location. The next thing that tends to matter is what industry people are in. Okay, medical industry is different than secondary education. Different than healthcare, different than hotels. So there's 430 industries on LinkedIn.
Wow.
And there used to be 147, and they just tripled it about a year ago.
Okay.
So when you go to type something in, you can see the matchup,
Right.
okay? And you can just, I've got a lot of tools that I use to hone in on industries and stuff. And like, for example, if you pick the technology industry, it doesn't just include technology. It includes 45 other industries,
Hmm.
including libraries, Richard.
Interesting.
Libraries fall
Interesting.
under technology.
Interesting.
Um, so, so when you're dealing with industries in LinkedIn itself, you're stuck with big industries. If
Right.
you get into Sales Navigator, you can say, I want that industry, but not libraries. You get really granular. You can say not just what you want,
Right.
but what you don't want, if you've got that information, if you
Okay.
happen to know what that information is.
Okay.
Okay. So the next thing that comes into play, and this is a really big one here, this may be the biggest one, job titles.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I target here, here, here? And you can use some combinations. We call it Boolean. Okay, Boolean is
Right.
a programming term that just basically says or. In our case here, we'll just use the simplest ways: this or that, president or founder or director.
I look for president, founders, C levels, VPs.
Yeah, and you can use 5 of those words.
Yeah.
You can have so many or commands: this or this or this or this or that, but that's it.
Yeah.
In LinkedIn, in Sales Navigator, you can go or all the way down the street, or
Which
yourself
I
to
do.
death.
Which I do.
Yeah, and you can use ors to say the ones you want, and then you can use ors to say the ones you don't want. Like, I don't want past presidents. I don't want fraternity presidents. I only want these kind of presidents. And that's
Right.
Sales Navigator. So that's why you pay a little more money and you get a lot more, but it's
Get a lot
pretty
more. They
complex.
call it querying. You get a lot more querying.
Yes, a lot more querying. You can ask better questions of the machine,
Right.
right? Okay. So in the LinkedIn and the free version and the LinkedIn premium version, one last thing that comes into play sometimes that's significant is the keywords.
Mm.
Okay. So if you look at job titles, it only looks at job titles, but keywords look everywhere
Hmm.
in a profile. So if someone says, I hate motorcycles, and you put a keyword motorcycles,
Yep.
you got them.
You just put a keyword motorcycle. If I hate motorcycles. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. So if you hate something, it doesn't matter. The system doesn't understand hating and liking. It just says, I found a word.
In fact, it works the
Okay.
way Alta Vista used to work back in the day. It's just
Oh,
keyword
remember
driven.
Alta Vista, huh? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's back
Yeah.
in that's pre Yahoo.
Yeah. That's back in the, what is it, early 2000s?
Excite was another one back
Site.
then.
They
Remember
were
that?
all keyword driven, and scammers were always trying to use, scam the
Yeah.
system.
Now,
Yeah.
those algorithms fit on a couple pages, and now the algorithms are God knows what.
Oh, it's all AI, I'm sure.
So you pull all those items together, and then you get a search results, and in LinkedIn you see 10 per page.
Right.
In Sales Navigator, you see 25 per page. It's just you see a certain amount, and you go to page 2, page 3. So if you found now your people, what are you going to say to them?
Buy
That's
my
that's the
stuff.
next.
You gotta
Buy
say,
my
buy
stuff.
my stuff. Right. No, I'm kidding.
Now
That's not
you,
what
you
you
might
say.
you might say that later, but you don't start with that. You start by having a template typically. So you've got some little base message, it's a sentence or two that you might say, and then you'll look at somebody's profile and you'll take that text and you go, oh, I learned he's into funky shirts. Okay. So you paste your message into the connection request and you'll say, I'm into funky shirts too, or I really like that dashika you had, or what do you call your shirt?
Hawaiian
Your
shirt.
costume,
Yeah.
your Hawaiian shirt. And I do like to compliment people on how they look in their pictures, by the way.
Right.
A lot of
Right.
people spend a lot of time and effort to select that picture. And, if you say, that's a mighty smile you got there. Um,
Yeah. You
Mighty
basically
smile you got there.
you say anything you can to show them that you actually looked rather than a robot.
Exactly so. Exactly so. And you expect someone who's in marketing to have marketing stuff in their profile. You're looking for something that's unusual, off the beaten path. And in a profile, the about section is the best place to find that.
Right.
And then you scroll to the bottom, right, and see if they're part of any associations, or they went to a school that you could talk about, or they volunteer or have some causes. Um, I like to look at the recommendations people get. You ever look
Yeah.
at those, Richard?
Oh, I'm actively getting lots of them, and I look at them definitely.
Yeah, when you look at, well, let's say it's Jonathan that you got there, and you scroll down into the recommendations and it says John. Well, I'm not going dear Jonathan anymore. I'm going with John. Or if it's Johnny, or whatever. So recommendations kind of see how people talk about them, and that there might be something juicy to say there as well.
So, in summary,
So
you're using LinkedIn Navigator, or if you don't want to buy LinkedIn Navigator, and why not? It's only what, $30 more than this business thing.
yeah,
You're using it to find qualified people to talk to,
that's right. That's
and
right. And
you're
you get a search list. You've got a list of people in a search.
and then you're putting together a semi-customized message at least. So you got your boilerplate, and then you basically want to look a little bit, and I'm sure you could come up with some AI that does that if you wanted to put in something that's unique, that shows that something looked at their profile at least.
Exactly so. Exactly. Now, if you, I'm in technology, and a lot of our audience are technology people. Okay. Um, I like to look at their past jobs, all of their past jobs, and see if there's anything I can relate to.
Mhm.
What were they doing back in the 80s and 90s that I can relate to? That's when I was in technology. I worked in telecom, internet, systems integration, servers, wide area networks. I worked in all that cool stuff. And if I see they had anything to do with any of that, I'm on it. I'm throwing out slang and gibberish that's related to that kind of stuff to get them
Right.
feeling warm and cozy. Right,
Yeah.
right, right. We would have talked about TCP/IP.
So, so basically, a technical person or a leader can use this to help find other people in their industry or their whatever kind of criteria they want to network with, to sell to buy from, whatever their purpose is. They can use this to find better qualified people. So they're not wasting other people's time and their own on people who are not interested. For example, like one of the first mistake that I made in LinkedIn when doing this was I would throw out a message that said, I'm a ghostwriter and I want to help you write a book. And then I got back, somebody says, you didn't look at my profile. I've written 50 books. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that was 80. That was years ago, probably 8 years ago or something. Learned my lesson since then. Make sure that you've checked. And then you have a different message. I see you've written several books. Are you thinking of writing another one? Maybe I can help with that. It's a different message, but it shows that you at least looked.
Yes, having a library of templates is what you just described, and that's brilliant. That we do that ourselves. I have 5 or 6 that fit the different scenarios.
Right.
In technology, it might be that, I worked at a technology company that's similar to yours, or you
Right.
were in Colorado, or you're an engineer. I have a template that kind of says how I could relate to them, and then I've got one that says I can't relate to you at all, but damn it, you got a cool company you work for.
And now
You
the
know?
other mistake that I've made and I've seen other people make is they get this message and there's no. First of all, mistake number one is it says buy my stuff. Don't do that. And mistake number two is no follow up or poor follow up.
Yep. So let's explore that, Richard, because all right. So I just when you're going down your list of people, don't be afraid to skip people.
Oh yeah.
If you send to half the people on that page, pick the right half. Don't just feel you got to invite everybody. Your search is only so good in LinkedIn. Your mind and your eyes are scrubbing that list on the fly.
If you're
Okay?
looking for technical directors and one of them's an art director, that may not be your audience, although it was a director.
Yeah, that's right. And the word director is a really dirty one. There's directors of catering out there. So if you're going to use
Mm-hmm.
the word director, you've really got to use a qualifier with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where LinkedIn doesn't work well and Sales Navigator works really well,
Yeah.
because you can really qualify with you can have, say, director and sales or marketing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because you can use those little ors and brackets and stuff like that. Yeah. So after you send these out, they're going to show up in a certain place in LinkedIn. They're going to show up in your new connections page.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll say, connected an hour ago, a day ago, a week ago, and stuff. And that's the place to go look to follow up. And you're going to send a thanks for connecting message. We call it a welcome message. All you're saying is, thanks for connecting. I hope we can be good resources for one another. That's all. Nothing more. Nothing more than that. Okay. Now, a week later, you might say, I was recircling, came on back. I thought, you caught my eye again. I took a closer look, and, you seem like the right kind of person who would,
Right.
be involved in internet security. And you know what? I love that. Or, might want to write a book, or you'd be a good author. Or, picture yourself on the cover of 8.5 by 11, or, what is it? Eight by
Nine,
5,
9 by 6. 9 by 6.
9 by 6, 9 by 6.
Yep.
So there's 3 messages in that sequence. We've got the invitation, we've got thanks for connecting, or the welcome message, and then you've got the message where you really are saying, I reach out to you for this reason. I don't reach out to everybody. I reach out to you for this reason.
That's when
And
you ask them to buy your inkjet cartridges, right? No, kidding.
that's where you say, I bet you got a laser printer, don't you? What's in What's in your wallet?
Because we've all got a million of those.
Yeah, that's right. I knew we'd have fun with this, Richard. I knew we would. So let's just try to keep it simple. It's a three-step process. And,
Right.
if you've got tools and Sales Navigator and other things, you can go further with it. But that's it right there. Find the people, get your messages together, invite them to connect when they do. And if you get 20% of the people you're inviting to connect, you're doing pretty good. 20% is pretty good number, especially if you're dealing with people who get a lot of invites, like people at the top of the company.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So let that be the case. Now, if you've got Sales Navigator, let's talk about that. So that was the free version and all. In Sales Navigator, you've got a few more filters you can use. And one that I like a lot is called seniority level. Seniority level. Do you
I
use that
use.
one, Richard? Have you
Oh
seen that
yeah,
one?
yeah.
It's a
I use
great
that
one.
one a
Great
lot
one.
because I'm looking for senior people.
Yeah, yeah. So that if you're doing your job titles, seniority level is a little bit redundant with that. You can be used together strategically, but you're basically saying I want CXOs, anyone with a chief title.
Yep.
Now, you could be chief bottle washing officer, and it will find it. Richard, I've tested this. I
Yep.
mean,
Oh
literally,
yeah.
chief. I'm the chief widget officer, I think it was, and it found it because all it's looking for is chief and officer, and anything in between
Yeah. I was looking
qualifies.
for chief data officers, and that was also chief diversity officers. So I had to filter that manually.
Yeah, yeah. So you understand when you got something, powerful, it's a little more complicated, right,
Yep.
Richard? I mean,
Yep.
you're blessed with something, and you're cursed with something at the
So
at the same time.
so now you're just to kind of summarize this and lead towards a wrap up. Um, you're a technical person or you're a leader, and as a leader, your job is to lead. Your job is to get out there and to network. I preach this a lot. You have to network to survive in this world, especially the way the world is going. So you have to and that doesn't mean going to network groups or things. Could mean that. What it means is getting to people to know, like, and trust you, and find people you know, like, and trust. We could have a whole episode on that.
KLT,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's
We
a
know
it's
that
a
one well.
it's a word used by many marketers and salespeople, and what it means is you get people to trust you and to like you and know who you are. So you've just connected with people using a method that actually helps with that. You've given them messages that are at least semi-relevant, so they start to know you. You're talking to them over 3 messages. They start to like you a little bit, and they're trusting you a little more because you're actually being relevant. So you've raised it just a little bit. And then as your messages continue, you can raise that even more. And maybe you schedule a meeting. And um, this is a lot of my audience might think, well, I'm a technical person. Why would I do any of this stuff? Well, what happens if you lose your job? You're going to suddenly scramble. You should be doing this during your whole career, correct?
That's right. That's right. And when you have a job is when you want to be building your network because more people will connect with you. You don't want to appear needy.
And they'll
You
like
can
you.
offer more to people. Yeah, they'll like
Now,
you.
the other thing in the equation, just super briefly, of know, like, and trust, is you have to give to get. So I'm finding that out more and more and more. You have to give something to people. So don't just go on there and say, buy my stuff. First thing you should be asking is, how can we help each other? How can I help you? Kind of thing. And then you gain
Right.
their trust, and they begin to know you and they begin to like you, because everybody likes it. And I'm not talking about just giving away those free, a free pamphlet or a free something. Give them something they actually could use. Like, are there any people I can connect you with? It's a great one. It's pretty harmless.
Mhm. Yep.
Is there, where do I get those cool shirts that you're wearing? Uh,
It's called Dashika, Dashika. I'm sure they're on Amazon.
yeah, or eBay, certainly. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so in the long and short of it, this helps you get the people to talk to, but it's still your job to qualify those people and then to get them to like you and trust you and know who you are.
Yep.
And
Yep. You do it
That's
through your profile, and you do it through the words that you speak, you
right.
put in on LinkedIn. Those are the two things under your control. A lot of things are not under your control. I mean, you can't control whether they're even going to see it, whether they log in, or whether they pay any attention to it. So you can only work with the things that are under your control, and that's how you look and what you say.
And then probably the other important thing is don't trigger LinkedIn's annoyance filters, I like to call them, where you're just. I had one person that was a friend of mine, is a friend of mine. He decided he could make a lot of money by connecting to 500 or 600 people a day. So he just bang, 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 bang. LinkedIn deleted his account, just killed it. So
Yep.
then he tried to create another one, killed it. He could not create he can't create a new account on LinkedIn. If it can identify him, he's not going to be getting an account. So you have to
20,
be
20, 20 a day is a good number if you're going to be doing things. If you want 100 a week, 100 a week, and 20, 30 a day is really the upper limit for what people ought to be doing. And
for
don't go too
connections.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
for
yeah.
connection requests. Don't go
Spread
too
them.
fast. You can.
Spread them through the day, like you're a normal person instead of a robot. You don't want to look like a robot.
Well, one interesting thing about robots is, a robot will do something every 20 minutes all throughout
Right,
the
right,
course of the
right.
day. And a worker is not going to send a connection request, so on. So I like to find a time in the morning. I'm listening to my podcast, so I've got my phone. I'm listening to my podcast, and I'm doing my inviting and checking my inbox in the morning. It's one of the first things I do. So other people go to their email inbox first. These two inboxes are the first things to kind of look for in the morning.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I frankly, sometimes it's this one, sometimes it's that one, right? I mean,
Right.
this got to be done by 9 or so, and I get my inviting done. I take maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes in the morning to do my inviting,
Right.
and I'm doing 20 a day, roughly.
Right.
That's a minute apiece.
So
Now, I'm not spreading them out throughout the whole day. Richard, you mentioned about spreading them out throughout the whole day. That doesn't operationally work for a lot of people, but what does work is if you split it up. So 2 parts of the day, when I come back from lunch or before I leave or so, having
that's what
2
I do.
moments in the day works out pretty good.
I do them generally first thing in the morning before I go to bed, and maybe in the middle of the day. I don't
Yeah.
try and artificially spread it through the day. Okay, well we've learned a lot today about LinkedIn. I mean, these might sound pretty basic, but they're actually very, very powerful. Could you summarize it all in a paragraph?
Yeah, sure I can. So, um, LinkedIn is the place where the people you want to do business are. You have to go to where they are. Now, finding them is a matter of extracting by putting some things in to get some things out. The next step is to engage them to connect for the most part. If we had 30 more minutes, we talk about content and posting and all that stuff, but we don't have that time today. So I'm being rather direct here. There's a whole lot more to it. And if you like, book a call with me. I mean, it's really easy to book a call with me. It's schedulewithmike.com.
That was
Schedulewithmike.com. Does it get any easier than that?
that was my next question. Well, thank you for answering that. So how to get hold of you? Schedule a
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah. Yeah, and when I get on a call with someone, we look at their profile and I give them tips and guidance on what to do. This is good, that's not. Have you thought of this? Take a look at this idea. Then we go over your target market and talk about who those sort of people are, and then we discuss things like we talked about today.
Yep.
How would you engage those folks? We just get more specific when we're in one-on-one versus doing a 20-minute podcast.
The number one thing that I think people can do to increase their profile is get a good headshot, a professional one. You can go to JCPenney's and with a Groupon and get it for $30, which is what I did. And they came out really, really good. And get a professional headshot and make sure that headline is good and change it once in a while. The headline should be what do you deliver to people? What do they get? It's not about you, it's about them.
And actually, your headline can be about multiple things. What you mentioned,
It's
you and I both
240.
do this.
Yes.
We get a certain amount of characters, and you can say, a little bit, and then put a little separator or an
Right.
emoji, and then
Right.
say a little something else and another emoji. I recommend people use 3 sections. So they got the first section is about their name and title,
Of
or
course.
their title and company. Then an emoji, and then some qualifications. Mine says I'm a sales navigator expert, campaign expert,
Right.
and then another emoji, and then something interesting. So mine says Forbes top 50 social media expert. So
Right.
those are 3 separate kind of buckets of stuff in the same text, separated by an emoji or a little vertical pipe. So you get 3-4 lines of stuff, Richard, right? You take advantage of it. It's prime
Is
real estate.
is the one that shows up everywhere. And other than the first 3 lines of the about clause, it's the only one that shows up on anything. Those things, and that's what you need to focus on. Well, thank you for
Exactly.
coming in. Um, I'm Richard
You bet,
Lowe.
Richard.
I'm Richard Lowe, the Writing King. You can find me at thewritingking.com or ghostwriting.guru, and I write books for people. I also occasionally do LinkedIn profiles and LinkedIn work. Not with Sales Navigator. That's not my forte. I tend to just look at the profile and fix that up and give a little coaching. So this, that's how it works. I also do case studies and white papers. So thank you for watching the Leaders and Their Stories podcast. I hope this was helpful, and come back next time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Richard. This was really fun together with you. You're
My
awesome.
my pleasure. Thank you.